Please start. Sit on your video and start.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Gurave Namaha.
Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam
Manabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurur Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे
Hare Krishna.
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। हरे कृष्ण माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna. Now we are in chapter 5, right? What is the name of the chapter? Hare Krishna, what is the name of chapter?
कर्म योगा।
Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. So here again this chapter, again Arjuna started with a question, telling that based on the previous whatever Lord Krishna has told, Arjuna has again got a question, saying that you are asking me to renounce work on one hand, and again you are recommending to do work with devotion on the other hand. Which one is better? Which one will be more beneficial for me? Was the question of Arjuna. Then Krishna has very clearly answered that renunciation of work and work in devotion both are good for liberation, but out of the two, working in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. So now the discussion totally goes on working with in devotional service. So working in devotional service is nothing but we have to do our prescribed duties. Whatever are prescribed duties, we have to do. But only thing is, we should not be attached to the results of the work. Whether the result can be good or bad. The result can be favorable to us or unfavorable to us. In both the cases, we should not be like when it is very good, we should not get excited. When it is bad, we should not feel bad. So when we can take like that, that means then why are we doing the work? We are doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. Because we are doing it for the pleasure of Krishna, Krishna will be very happy, and that is what is doing work in devotional service. So that is how we have to do. That's what Krishna tells. So now we have come to Sloka. Now we have to talk about Sloka 15. Yeah.
Mataji, can I read?
Yeah.
Mataji.
Yeah, Harshit will read because you read the prayer. Harshit will read. Next one you can read. Harshit read.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna.
Sarva karmani manasa sanyasте sukam vasi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvan na karyavayan.
Yeah.
Translation. When the embodied living beings controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, either working nor causing work to be done.
When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all action, that is what I have just now told. They should mentally be free from the reaction of his action, and he resides happily in the city of 9 gates. What is the city of 9 gates? What is the city of 9 gates?
Sorry.
Body.
There's
Human body. Yeah. 2 eyes.
2
ears.
2 ears and 2 nostrils.
6. Mouth.
Mouth.
7. And excretion organs 2. They are city of 9 gates. So we have to reside in the city of 9 gates. So when we are residing there, we can live happily there. Our soul. We means who is we? We is the soul. And so the soul can happily live in the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. So here Krishna has explained about the karmi and karma yogi. Karmi means anybody who is doing action is a karmi. Karma means action. So a person whoever is doing karma is a karmi. So a karmi, to become a karma yogi, we have to be detached with the results of the action. A karmi works for his satisfaction, whereas a karma yogi works for the Supreme Lord. So who are the here? We are from the next slokas, we are going to understand who are the doers of this action. We are saying doing action, karma and all those things. Who are the doers of the action? So there are, here Krishna is going to explain that there are, in the next 4 sloka, Krishna is going to explain about the 3 doers. That means, here it's very clear that we are not the doers. We means who is the doer then? Then why are we getting all this karma is what Krishna is going to explain from now. And Krishna is very clearly telling that we have to be mentally renounced. That is the spirit of renunciation. That means not getting attached to any result. Why here? Actually, why are we all here? From the beginning, we have been discussing about this. Why are we in this material body? Because actually, we were all in Goloka when we had lot of desires beyond Krishna. That means more than serving Krishna, we wanted to be independent. Like we wanted to get served. We wanted to be the bosses. That is the reason why Krishna, a kind father, a merciful father, has blessed us. Okay, he says, okay, if that is your desire, go and enjoy your desire. So that is the reason why we are here. So, but here, but to get out after coming here only, now we know that where we have gone wrong. So we have to learn how to be unattached with any action that we are doing. Here we have to be clear that the soul is present in the body and the body is doing the activity. This is described more elaborately in chapter 18. Here Supreme God is also a doer, as he is the sanctioner. Here one doer is ourselves, that the person who is deciding is one doer. The second doer, who is the second doer? The second doer is the sanctioner. Like Krishna is the one who is sanctioning our desires. Then the immediate doubt what we get is, why Krishna is not sanctioning all our desires? Like we have lot of desires, everything. We think we want to be the richest person on the earth. or we want to be the most beautiful person on the earth, or we will like to be the topper of our school, or topper in the university, or topper. So why Krishna is not sanctioning all those things? But in other case, here I am telling that Krishna is the sanctioner. So how does Krishna sanction? Krishna does not just give away everything. See, like our father, what does he give us? Initially, he gives us something. Based on how we are using them, he gives the remaining things, the next thing. Suppose he gives you a mobile phone. If you are using it for the right purpose, that is to attend the classes, or to learn some Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, some spiritual activity, or to upgrade your knowledge by seeing YouTubes, then what will you think? Okay, my son is or my daughter is using it for the right purpose. So let me give him a laptop in the next stage. But suppose whatever he has given you now, the mobile phone, suppose you have started using it for a wrong purpose. That means you are not attending the classes, you are playing games, you are watching movies, and then wasting all your time. And then what will he do? He will take back your mobile also. That way, any sanction will be based on how we use the already sanctioned ones. That means, suppose we are in Krishna devotion, and or whatever it is, we are doing a proper karma and attain a proper positive results. Based on that, Krishna will continue giving us more things. That means based on what we desire. Suppose we are doing everything good, but our desire is to enjoy more, Krishna will not take us back to his world. He will only keep giving us more benefits. Suppose we have a lot of desires, but we are not doing any wrong, we are doing only wrong things, then the good things will not be given. Suppose we hurt somebody in this life, because of which he lost his leg or eye or something. In our next life, we will be born like that, like a handicapped person. So that way, Krishna is the sanctioner. And okay, we are designing, Krishna is sanctioning. There should be somebody else who is going to facilitate all this. That is the Prakriti. So all these three are the doers here. Prakriti, only because of the Prakriti, because of everything around us, we are able to survive. But due to our false ego, we think that we are the doers. But no, we have to understand that all the three are doers. Because the soul desires only when we desire, things are happening. If we don't desire, nothing will happen for us. So next sloka. Yeah. Next sloka. Who is ready?
Dixit Mataji.
Yeah, Dixit, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Bhagavad Gita 5.14. Na
Kartutvam.
कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभुः न कर्म फल संयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he include people to act, nor does he create the fruits of the action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. The embodied spirit, master of the city of this body, does not create activities. So we have just now discussed that we are we are in this city of 9 gates. That is the body. That is the city. Does not create activities, nor does not include people to act, nor does he create the fruits of the activities. All this is enacted by the 3 modes of material nature. What are the 3 modes of material nature? Sattva, Rajo, and Tamoguna. Because of them only, because of those desires only, because of them only, things happen. So, so in the previous sloka, we have seen the role of the soul performing any action. So the role of the soul is he only desires. So now the role of Prakriti. So we'll discuss about the role of what Prakriti. We discussed Supreme Lord sanctions and the Prakriti does it. Unless the material nature is there, the soul cannot do anything. The material nature means the material body is there, and the soul cannot do anything. The material nature has three modes. As we know, it is Sattva, Rajo, and Tamo Gunam. Induces the soul to, so because of this character, whatever we are having, either we are having a Sattva Gunam or a Tamo Gunam or a Rajo Gunam, that is what motivates the soul to desire some material desires. So Prabhupada says, like waves in the ocean, soul cannot its material nature. Like the ocean, like the waves in the ocean, the desires always keeps coming. There, so like they are always continuous. The souls, the desires will never end. So here the soul is the doer. The swabhava, the vasanas carried by the soul. But here, why does the soul desire all this is the question. Why is the soul desiring all this? Because as we discussed, how are we getting all these desires? Some people from the childhood love singing. Some people from the childhood loves painting. Some people from the childhood try to do devotional service. From where are these qualities coming? They are not what the parents are teaching. The parent will say, you have to study very well, you have to become a great engineer or a great doctor. But the child's mind is always on painting or singing. Why? Because that is the character, that is what the soul desired in his previous life. So his mind is always there. So, so that is they are called as vasanas of the previous life. God sanctions and the material nature facilitates. So, based on our vasanas of the previous janma, these things happen. 15.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Rohan, I am reading Mataji.
Okay, great.
न दत्ते कस्यचि पापं न चैव सुकृतं विभुः अज्ञानेनावृतं जन्मं
Jnanam.
तेन मुह्यन्ति जन्तवः. Translation. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are believed because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge.
Nor does the Supreme Lord assumes anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. The Supreme Lord also, here we are discussing about the role of the Supreme Lord. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their this material body is, we get bewildered because of the ignorance which covers our real knowledge. Here Krishna describes about the role of the Supreme. Here he is also the doer because he is the sanctioner and desirer and facilitates through the material energy, because without the Krishna's sanctioning, nothing can be done. He does not assume. That means whatever, because we can say that we are the result of our sinful activity. But here, because Krishna is sanctioning, is he also a part of the sanctioning? No, Krishna is not the, he does not get affected by the result of the action, whatever is done by us. Because why is he sanctioning? Even though a person wanted to do murder, okay, only with the sanction of Krishna he is able to do. But why is Krishna doing it? because he is desiring it. So the problem, like it is like a knife. Suppose a person kills somebody with a knife. So the person who desires to do the murder is the person who is the main culprit in the total action. That way, Krishna also, even though he is the sanctioner, he won't be affected. All three, there are three doers. The soul is not doing anything, but it is desiring. That is the cause of its entanglement. Lord is not desiring the activity. The Lord here, the soul is desiring, whereas the Lord Krishna is not desiring the activity, because the soul wants to do, he is sanctioning. Material nature also does not desire, but without the desire and the sanction, it is active. For the activity, all three will be involved. Okay. So the soul is covered by ignorance and keeps desiring, because the soul is forgetting its material, its original nature, that it is the servant of Krishna, and so it thinks that it belongs to this material world and it is here to enjoy all this. He keeps desiring. God understands them and then sanctions them. But for an advanced devotee, by getting into Krishna consciousness, what happens is God takes care, and he won't have any material, and he will take care that, suppose you keep getting into Krishna consciousness, do chanting, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, what happens is we get the knowledge given by Krishna. And then because of which what happens is we understand that all these things should not be done. So it is he who gives us the knowledge that what is good and what is bad. For normal, there are for normal people, that means who are not into Krishna consciousness, or who are not devotees, they are bent upon the material desires. And so because they are so much entangled with the material desires and then keeps on desiring, so Krishna sanctions them. So not knowing all this, out of ignorance, we keep saying God is responsible. Whenever there is a difficulty that is happening to us, we normally, the immediate action what we say is, Krishna, why are you doing so much negative for me? Why only for me? Why so much negative is happening for me? Is the question what we always say. But it is not the God who is doing. He is trying to guide us. He is trying to guide us in many ways, but we are not listening to it. And we are only seriously desiring, so it happens. 16. Who will read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dikshit will read Mataji.
Wait, Sri Sagana, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Can you hear me?
15, 16.
Mataji, can you hear me?
Not very clearly. Yeah.
Can I start reading?
Yeah, now it's good.
ज्ञानाने तु तत् अज्ञानं येषां नासिकम् आत्मानः तेषाम् आदित्यवज्ञानं प्रकाश्यति तत्परं. Translation: however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. Hare Krishna.
When, however, one is entangled with the knowledge by which neuroscience is destroyed, means neuroscience means ignorance, ignorance, yes, I think it's ignorance, then his knowledge reveals everything, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. Here, what is that his knowledge? His knowledge reveals everything, because we means the soul. The soul knows that he is the servant of God, and he also knows that he should serve God. But because of the material nature, because of the Maya which is covering us, the soul does not, the soul forgets. So by getting this knowledge, by getting enlightened with the knowledge, by which we automatically get this knowledge, and a lack of knowledge person realizes everything as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. When everything will be dark around, when the sun comes, it becomes bright. So entangled by knowledge, by the knowledge is the only thing which can destroy ignorance, like the sun darkness, as discussed in the earlier chapter, that is the second chapter in Sankhya. The matter we have discussed about the Sankhya, that means the material body, the 26 elements of the material body, and the devotion matter. And here we have to understand that the soul is permanent, and development by developing detachment to material and attaching ourselves to the spirit is what is important. So that is how we, in the chapter 2 only, Krishna has explained that you are not the body, you are the soul. And in Sankhya Yoga, he has already explained, but he is further explaining it. That because of the knowledge, we are going to get everything. Yeah, 16. Sorry, 17. Harshit?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Harshit, great.
Mataji, Shanvi left Mataji.
Who? Harshit is there, no? Yeah, Harshit?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Tadbujjastad atmanas tan nistas tatpar tatparayanaha gachanti apurna
punaravrutti
apurnavrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. Translation. When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation.
When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed on Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. That means when we develop our intelligence and put our mind and faith on the Supreme, then we become fully cleansed, and then we lose all our misunderstandings through the knowledge and thus proceed straight to the path of liberation. So initially Krishna told you have to do karma yoga. When for answering Arjuna's questions, he said first you do karma yoga. Then he said karma sannyasa yoga. Then from 2nd to 6th, Krishna says both are same, almost equal, but karma yoga is simpler and better, because doing karma yoga is nothing but doing your own work with in devotion. Sannyasa is giving up work, because we might think that becoming a sannyasa is very easy, but becoming a sannyasa is very difficult, because being a karma yogi, we are enjoying all the means, at least we should not enjoy, take it, but at least we are fulfilling all our desires. But once we become a sannyasi, what happens is physically you might become a sannyasi, but mentally becoming a sannyasi is very difficult. That means renouncing ourselves from all the desires is very difficult. So giving up work is very difficult, and becoming a sannyasi, it is easier to do karma yoga. From 10th to now he is explaining Nishkama Karma Yoga, how it feels from all the bondages. And here in 17th sloka, he is telling that attaining liberation is only possible by fixing his mind on the Supreme Lord. That means whatever we are doing, we have to keep thinking about Krishna, and then only we will get liberation and never come back to this material world. So Prabhupada says the whole Bhagavad Gita is centered only on the declaration that Krishna is the supreme. So everywhere Krishna tells, put your mind on me, put your mind knowledge on me. That means we have to understand that the Krishna is the supreme, and not only the Bhagavad Gita, any scripture you take, any scripture properly written, it says Krishna is the supreme. So whoever is the supreme, we have to be obedient to them, and then we have to have faith in them, and then we have to work him, and then only we will reach him. 18. Yeah. Harshit has left. Huh?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah. Sri Sagana, will you read?
Yes, Maharaji. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Svoe Pakkecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Translation: the humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater, outcast. Hare Krishna.
The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahman, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater, outcast, say. That means, see, because once we get that feeling that we are all children of Krishna, that means when we are all children of Krishna, that means when you have your brothers, sisters in the house, you love them the way you love yourself, almost in the way yourself, because we are all siblings. And so a humble sage, what does he understand? I am a part of Krishna. I am a part and parcel of Krishna. So a cow is also a part and parcel of Krishna. An elephant is also a part and parcel of Krishna. Similarly, a dog. That means we have been discussing, saying that we have to take everything in the same way. So here, a humble sage looks at different people also in the same way. Like we normal people, what we say do is, when somebody does something very good, we appreciate them. When somebody does something very bad, we look them down. But here a sage does not look like that. So a sage will never look like that, because a sage does not look like that. Why? Because why Krishna has taken different qualities is, here cow has a different quality. Cow is almost a divine animal. So we normally look at cow in a very appreciating way. So a cow, a elephant is a self-conscious. That means it has no knowledge. It only keeps eating and sleeping. And a dog, it's still lower category. And a dog eater is an outcast. That means we look them very bad in a very low way. But here a sage can look at all of them in the same way, equally. Yeah, Harshit.
Mataji, Dikshit, can I read?
Oh, you're back, huh? Where did you go? Read.
Class was cut, Mataji, in the middle. Ihaiva Taijitah Sargo Yesham Samye Stitam Manaha Nirdosham Hi Samam Brahma Tasmad Brahmani Testitaha Brahmani Testitaha. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are
Flawless.
like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Mataji.
Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already acquired the conditions of birth and death. That means we have whatever we have discussed in the previous sloka only. Here again he is emphasizing. He says here they look at everybody in the same way, equanimity. That means whether he is a dog or a dog eater or a Brahmin or a bad man or a good man, he looks at all of them. That means he had conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahmins. Like the Brahmins are supposed to be flawless. They actually, when Krishna says Brahman, and they are already situated in Brahman. Brahman means the Supreme Lord. That means he is in a Brahman stage, not Brahmin, it is Brahman stage. That means they are already almost attained the Supreme Lord's blessings and they are situated in that stage. Yeah, 20.
Mataji, Rohan can read Mataji.
Yeah.
न प्रश्यते प्रियं प्रप्या नो द्विजेत् चाप्रियं स्थिरबुद्धि रसमुद्रो विद्रुहणि स्थितिः. A person who is neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbeliever, and who knows the signs of the God, is already situated in transcendence. Thank you, Mataji.
A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant, nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God, is already situated in transcendence. Again, in 20 and 21st sloka, Krishna explains this, that this is what we have been discussing all this throughout this chapter. A person who neither rejoices, that means something does not feel happy for something very good, unpleasant, nor laments, that means nor cries for or feels bad upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligence, that means that man only who is self-intelligent only can understand that, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God. What is signs of God? This is all signs of God. Bhagavad Gita is the signs of God. Understanding that Supreme God is Lord Krishna and we are all his children and we should try to go back to God. Already situated in transcendence. Yeah. Harshit or Sagana?
Yeah. Bahyes perceives askatmah tatmah vindati atmani yat sukham sabrahma yoga yuktatmah sukham akshayam asnute. Translation: such a liberated person is not attracted to material seen pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the same thing what is told in the previous sloka, such liberated person is not attached to the material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. So the moment we are not attached to anything outside, definitely our soul will be always happy. We are only making the soul sorrowful by attaching ourselves to the material around us. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happy. The moment we detach with the temporary happinesses around us, we become very happy. For he concentrates on the Supreme. So the happiness is normally, our happiness is always dependent on the external factors. But Once we understand that the external factors are temporary, and we know that the happiness should be from inside, internal, then what happens is we connect to ourselves, and then we become very, very happy. So here, we'll have different stages of happiness. Like a child, a small boy will be very happy with a toy. But if I give a toy car to a small boy, he becomes happy. But the same toy car, the same boy grows up, he cannot be happy. He wants a real toy, real car. So that way, happiness is unending. But the moment we detach ourselves with all this, we are happy. The self-realized person, nothing material will give him happiness. So he will think, okay, car is there. Okay, car is for commuting. So if I have a car, I'll commute faster. Otherwise, I'll take some other thing. So that kind of a detachment he will have. So understanding the temporary nature of the material pleasure. So we have to be very careful that anything that gives us pleasure will give us sorrow later on. One should develop spiritual vision. Unless one has positive spiritual entanglement, this cannot be practiced. So senses around us are continuously tempting us. So it is not possible, as we always discuss, never try to control your senses. That means you sit in front of a TV, it always says switch it on, watch the TV. The moment there is no TV in the house, there is no temptation of the TV. So that way we should know how to keep ourselves away from it. Like you read a storybook, a novel, a friction where all sorts of fightings and all is there, it will make us read again. So we try to understand a spiritual book, it will tempt us to do. So having sense organs, we cannot keep silent. We have to do something. We have to see something, we have to think something, we have to eat something, we have to touch something. These things we have to do. We have no choice. So while doing all those things, instead of keeping ourselves in between all temptations and struggling to come out of that, which is not possible, which is impossible, it is better to engage the senses in services to Krishna. So it's very important. We have to engage our services in serving to Krishna. Yeah, 5.22. Harshit? Are you there?
Left.
Okay, you did. You said.
Left, Mataji.
Okay, you did it.
Okay, Mataji. Mataji, Pushkar will lead Mataji.
Pushkar? Okay, Pushkar, very good. Read. You want to read Pushkar? Hare Krishna. You want to read the sloka or the meaning, Pushkar?
Meaning.
Pushkar, you want to read the sloka or the meaning?
I'll read the meaning.
Okay, Nana. So,
And
yeah.
Jabogahal Dukayonaya Evate Adyantavaha Kaunteya Nate Shuramate Buddhaha. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Mataji.
Pushkar, read the
an
translation.
intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material sense. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them.
Yeah, very good.
Krishna Mataji.
Yeah. Next time, if you attend the class, you just practice 1 or 2 slokas and then tell me, Mataji, I'll read these slokas. I can give the slokas to you. Okay?
Okay, Mataji.
You will improve your reading of slokas also. You select 1 or 2 slokas and then message me that you will read those slokas. Okay. an intelligent person does not take part in the source of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. From where are we getting all these miseries and things? Because we are getting attached to the enjoyment around us only, all these things are happening. So, O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and end, and so the wise man does not delight with them. Like we discussed about the car. A car will definitely give us lot of enjoyment. We keep doing lot of keep going there, we keep showing it to everybody. And suppose the car one day we meet with an accident. That is the source of sorrow. So because when we buy a very sophisticated car, okay, car means for today's life, for commuting, a car is required. So we should buy a car, nothing wrong in it. Suppose we are so fascinated and buy 1 crore worth of car. We are so careful, cautious about the car. Array, my car is so costly, I have to be careful. And wherever we go, even when we go to the temple also, our mind will be on the car only. Where did I park? I parked it on the road. There is no parking space. So some fellow will come and hit my car. There'll be a scratch. So that way. And we have buy a house. A house is for living. So we can have a house for living. But we go for luxury and buy a very luxurious house. If you have the money also, the moment we can always spend the money for a better purpose, like development, propagating Krishna consciousness, temples, or whatever, for a better purpose, for the better living of somebody else. And rather than that, if you try to spend it in a luxurious way, what happens is, for some reason, we lose our money. Moving out of the house will give us sorrow. Similarly, moving out of the house or even the maintenance of the house will give us a lot of displeasure. And we will be entangled so much with the house, more than the people we get entangled with the house. So any sense enjoyment, anything that gives us happiness, material things, will be a cause of sorrow tomorrow. We always look for happiness only, but for any happiness there is a beginning and an end. Even we suppose we have a credit card, we start using the credit card, it will be so nice going to the shop, just swiping the credit card, buying everything, enjoying all those things. It's really so nice, very, very peaceful. Then the moment the day for the credit card payment comes, that is the end of all of this thing. Even children, relations, everything is like that only. Children also, parents also. We should understand that this is our responsibility. To bring up our children is our responsibility. Once the children are grown, there ends our responsibility. That way, children also should understand that taking care of the parents is our responsibility. Should not get too much of entanglement. Relationships also, any relationships is like that. Anything that gives us material happiness will give us miseries. So, a self-realized person will enjoy only the truth. That means only the presence of Krishna in his heart a person will enjoy. This self-pressures, as we have discussed in our sloka, ahara nidra bhayamaidunancha, that sloka, samanya metat pasubir narana, dharmo hitesho adiko vishesho, dharmena hina pasubir samana. That means, what did we learn there? Eating, sleeping, mating, and having children, and taking care of them, animals does, we do. So the pleasure is same for all of us. A dog will lie down on the road, but it will sleep very peacefully. Here, what is the purpose of sleeping? To relax our body. Sleeping is the purpose there. So whether we sleep in an AC room and in a very sophisticated bed, most of us cannot sleep. But a dog on the floor is able to sleep so well. So here the purpose of sleeping, a dog is doing better. So that way, how to have the purpose is important. The mode of fulfilling the desire is not important. So here our concentration always should be on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then only our happiness will increase. when we improve the spiritual happiness in us, that means when we start enjoying doing chanting, doing bhakti, that propagating Krishna consciousness, then our material enjoyments will automatically come down. And then people will think, "Arey, this fellow has left all the material happiness. He is doing all this." Okay, let them say whatever he says. So only one who enjoys the Krishna consciousness can understand what happiness he is undergoing. This happiness is unlimited and is not temporary. So we have to decide what kind of happiness we should take. 5.23. Who will read? Rohan? Sagana, you want to read?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Sakkanoti haivayaha sojam praksasira vimosnat kama krodha bhavam vegam sayuktaha sasukhi naye. Translation: before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated in the happiness in this world. Because before giving up the body means, as when we are in the body, if we are always thinking about the urges, our desires, our happiness, our sorrowfulness, and only those things, if you are just thinking only about this thing, these things, he will be again come back, take the material body, and he will again suffer the Janma Mutyu Jara Vyadi. He is, otherwise, if he can curtail himself from all this, he will be well situated and is happy. I mean, he is always in this world only. If he is only, his urges are only for the material body, he is only in this material body, in the material world. That means he will be under Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. So we have to understand that as long as we are in the material body, the material temptations will be there. So even we keep reading, we keep preaching, whatever it is, even though I am talking all this, it doesn't mean that I have no material desires. But only thing is, whenever the material desire is there, when it is beyond us, when it is really not required for us, we should know how to stop it. And then how to tolerate it as long. So happiness, the happiness, whatever we are getting, we should know that, are we getting it because of our sense enjoyment, and or are we getting it through for Krishna consciousness? So like we have to eat. When we eat, what we have to do is we have to understand that we are eating for the sustaining of the body, not for the enjoyment of the tongue. In my childhood, my mother used to say, like, narakam. That means the moment food crosses your tongue, it is hell. That means as long as it is on your tongue only, it gives you happiness. The moment it goes inside, which we are not supposed to eat, it causes so much of ill health. It causes so much of trouble to you. Or if not all that, at least it will cause obesity to you. And then that is the root cause for everything. So even whatever we are doing, we are eating, we should make sure that it is Krishna Prasadam. The moment we make sure that it is Krishna Prasadam, it is a freshly cooked food. It is a sattvic aharam. So there is no danger that it will cause harm to your body. That way, anything we are enjoying, anything that we are using for the material enjoyment, we should be under the consciousness that is it required for us? Should we do it? And are we, by doing this, can we go to the, can we upgrade ourselves to more transcendental knowledge? So anything like the best example is eating only. When we are eating, we enjoy so much, but later, because if the digestion does not happen, finish that whole night we have no sleep. And even bad habits also, when some bad habits happen, how a good person, he will be tempted by his friend or somebody around by a TV or an advertisement. So it just tempts you. So first time he said, okay, only once, let me try. What is there? I'm not getting habituated. He'll be so confident about himself, and he will either take a cigarette or a liquor or a drug or going to the movies or reading bad books or novels. All these things he will do it only once. Second time it will tempt. Oh, that day when I did, I had nice time. So let me do it. Let me do it. So that way you get habituated. So for good things getting, we have to make sure that we get attached to only good things and not bad things. So now if when we are in spiritual plane, lot of temptations, Maya will be tempting us. We should know how to come out of it. And so the moment we have no temptations, we are very happy. The moment we have no temptations, we are very happy. So we should know that we should not have temptations. Yeah.
Mataji, can you read?
Yeah, read. Yeah, read.
5.24. यो नतः सुकोऽन्तरारामः ततान्तरोज्यसति तिरेव यः न योगी ब्रह्म निर्वाणं ब्रह्मभूतोऽधिगच्छति. Translation: one whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoice within, who is active and rejoice within, and whose aim is inward and is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the supreme and ultimately he attains the supreme. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. Yeah, one whose happiness is within. That means our happiness should not be based on the external enjoyments. Who is active and rejoice within. That means when we say no happiness, no enjoyment, we should not sit without doing anything. We should be very active and rejoice within himself. We should have happiness within ourselves. And whose aim is inward is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the supreme. He is always in the supreme consciousness, and ultimately he attains the supreme. So he will reach supreme. He is none other than a yogi. He is the person who is a real yogi. A yogi is not the person who wears kashayam and moves around, but a person who is happy within himself and who is always in Krishna consciousness is the yogi. Yeah, 2.54.
लभन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं रसयेत्युसिना कल्मषः छिन्नतैत्वयत्तात्मानः सर्वभूताहिते रतः. Translation: those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts. That means we always have a doubt. Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I go for movie? Or should I go for read Bhagavatam class? So this kind of dualities and arise from doubts. So no more doubts. Whose minds are engaged within, always within himself, who are always busy working for welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, are liberated in the supreme. So here he tells how we have to do the sadhana. The qualifications mentioned in 24 Sloka 24 and 25 are very, very difficult to, very rare and very difficult. So Krishna simplifies all this further, how to do all this further. Here Krishna says we have to keep helping others. That means here the helping others means the only thing, the helping others, what we are thinking is, normally we have a notion of Manava Seva, Madhava Seva. That means serving people is what we should, what is important for us. That means So again, here we have to be very clear. We have to be that serving others means what is that service we have to do. So what is that any human being requires? What is what any human being, any person, not human being, any soul, Madhava. So make Manava Seva is Madhava Seva. That means to final, our ultimate aim is to make Krishna happy. So by reading Bhagavad Gita all these days, what is it we have understood? We have understood that making Krishna is our ultimate desire. So how do we make Krishna happy? By taking people to him, more and more people to him is what is making Krishna happy. So that means the service, what we are supposed to do to all the living beings around us is nothing but taking them to Krishna consciousness. That means talking about Krishna, telling the truth about the soul, and bringing them to Krishna conscious is the best service what we can do. That is what we can do to human beings. For animals also, serve them prasadam. If they get a prasadam, they will be liberated, and next life they will get a better life. They might become human beings, and from there they might go back to Goloka. Similarly, the plants also, the flowers which a plants give, if you offer them to Lord Krishna, that means the life of the plant is liberated. The plant will next life take a better life. That way we have to always serve others, but our service should be in such a way that it takes them closer to Krishna. This is one thing what we all of us have to be very clear. Yeah, 5.6. Pushkar, you want to read the meaning of this 5.6? Yeah, who is reading this? Only two more.
Mataji,
Mataji, I'll read.
Mataji Shala.
Where? Read.
Kama
Kama Krodha. Read.
Krodha Vimuktanam Yatinam Yata Chetasa Abhito Brahma Nirvana Vartate Vidatat Manam. Translation.
Yeah.
Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly enduring for perfection, are assured for liberation in the Supreme in a very near future.
Yeah. So those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assumed of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. That means who are free from, again the same point is, that means we should not get angry for any disappointments. Why do we get angry? Because of desire. Because when the desire is there and the desire is not fulfilled, we get depressed, and because of that we get anger. And all the, that means that is also the root cause is desire, and all material desires are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection are assured to the liberation. That means if you are free from anger, that means you are free from liberation. That then we will reach the Supreme. See here Prabhupada has given some examples saying that, see, a fish gives birth to lays eggs just by looking at one more fish. That is how the eggs are generated in them. Similarly, a tortoise also, it stays in the water, whereas its eggs or its children, they stay on the shore. But just, you know how the tortoise children grow, the tortoise constantly looks at the children of the tortoise, and that is how they are grown. That way a Krishna devotee should always keep his mind, always, that means when a tortoise takes care of its child, his mind is totally on the child, even though it's very far away. They don't take care of their children the way our parents take care of us. Just by the thought, always the thought is on the child. Just by the thought on the child of the tortoise children grow. That way our mind should always be on the supreme, should never be out. So here this is so here by liberation we can get karma yoga, jnana yoga or ashtanga. This liberation, whatever we are saying, the liberation we are reaching Krishna can be received by karma, can be gained by karma yoga or jnana yoga or ashtanga yoga, and finally by going to bhakti yoga. But the easiest way is karma yoga. So Prabhupada says better than a karma yogi is always better than Ashtanga yogi. That means being in Krishna conscious is the best way. Yeah. Who will read these two slokas? Who will read? One read the sloka, one read.
Mataji, can I please, Mataji?
Yeah, one of you read 27, one of you read 28.
Okay, Mataji.
Yeah.
Mataji, my brother will read slokas, I will read translation, Mataji.
Your choice.
Sparshan krite bahyam chakshusai chaivantare bhruvoho pranau samau kritva nasabhyatara sarino yante driyamano buddhir munirmoksha parayanaha vigattichantecha bhaya krodo ya sada mukta yeva saha.
Mataji, I will read translation. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending in inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence. The transcendentalist, aiming liberation, becomes free from the state, becomes free from the desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in the state is certainly liberated.
Shutting out all external shutting out all external sense objects. That means keeping ourselves aloof from all the external activity, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows. That means here he is telling how we can do yoga. Keeping our concentration on the two in the center of the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, and thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence. The transcendentalist aiming at liberation becomes free from the desire, free and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. That means here yeah. So here Krishna is telling how one can have some doubt. Yeah. Here he is telling how we can when we are doing our chanting, how we can proceed further. That means keeping our mind within us, not allowing it to go anywhere. A Krishna conscious person is always in the service of Krishna. So here Prabhupada, Krishna is giving a prelude for the chapters which are going to come. How to do Ashtanga Yoga and other things. That is what he is trying to explain here in brief. Okay, this we will discuss elaborately later. The last sloka, 29 sloka.
Mataji, can I read?
Yeah, you read just now, no? Harshit, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhrudam sarvabhutanam Nyatva mam shantim richati. Translation. The person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all the living entities, attains peace from the pangs of a material miseries.
Here Krishna is declaring how that he is the supreme personality. The person in full consciousness of me, that means in the consciousness of Krishna, knowing Krishna, and to be the ultimate, that Krishna is the ultimate beneficiary of all the sacrifices. We have discussed about the sacrifices and austerities. That means whatever sacrifices and austerities we are doing, he is the ultimate benefit. That means we have to offer them to him only. The supreme lord of all planets and demigods, he is the god of all the demigods and the benefactors and well-wishers of all the living entities. That means the demigods, they are supposed to be the well-wishers of all the living entities. Attains peace from the pangs of the material miseries. That means when we have this consciousnness that he is the ultimate, we will, that means we now know that nothing is ours, everything, he is the beneficiary. Why are we having all these desires? Because we think we are the beneficiaries. We construct a house, we think it is ours. But when we know that it is not ours, we are only temporary here, we are not going to be permanent, it is not ours, it is somebody else's, then the attachment won't be there. Anything, the attachments, why are we having the attachments? We are getting the attachments because we are thinking that they are all ours. The moment it is not there, there is no attachment. So we should understand that he is the beneficiary, we are not the beneficiary. This is a very important sloka. So we should always remember that we should always be in the service of Krishna, and we should always engage our mind and senses in bhakti only. Only then the liberation comes easily. So liberation should be the ultimate aim of any devotee. So that we'll get only by the perpetual loving devotional service on Krishna. So our only goal should be reaching Krishna and Krishna. So enjoyer, here he is telling that he is the ultimate beneficiary. That means he is the enjoyer of all the sacrifices. Whatever we are doing, they are all for Krishna only. So so this tells us that he is ultimate and we are only very temporary here. Especially in the third line, Supreme says the well-wishers of all the entities. That means that he is the well-wisher of all of us. That means in spite of saying that he is the ultimate beneficiary, he says, I am your well-wisher. So this tells us his heart, that he is a loving father and he loves us. Understanding Krishna is very important, and understanding Krishna is the only peace formula. Very clearly in this sloka he says, I am the supreme, I am the ultimate, and he says, I am here for you, I love you. So he says he is ready to take care of us. Only thing is we also have to be ready to do all the services for him on anything. We have to leave our material desires, and then we should concentrate on doing services to Krishna. Yeah, this ends the chapter. Yeah, I have posted the attendance, you can mark.
Yes.
If you have any doubts, you can ask me.